Hey guys, so I'm going to be doing a presentation on the Friedlander. Yeah. So this is a self-portrait of himself. This was taken in Tokyo in 1994. It was found in the Franklin Gallery Museum website, and I found this image to be really interesting because how simple it is and the shadows coming in from the window, the bright light hitting his face, and you can see his shadow behind him. He was born in Washington. He is an American photographer and artist. He was very accomplished and he studied photography at an art school in California, and then he moved out to New York City to photograph jazz covers. He was most known for during that time in the 1960s and 70s, and he was a portrait photographer, but he was known for his innovative images of the city streets, but he also captured the unexpected overlaps of light and content in urban landscapes. So I'm going to be showing you photographs from different expositions that he's done. This next photograph I'm going to be talking about was taken in Santa Monica, California in 1996. This photo, I thought it was really interesting because the reflection, you can see himself in the circle mirror and in the mirror in the bathroom. This seems to be taking place in a hotel room. I don't know, it gives a message. I just feel like he seems worried when he's taking this photo, but he seems like he wants to take a photo of himself, but I don't know. I found it really interesting. This next photo just came from his self-portrait exposition from the Franklin Gallery Museum, and it shows a reflection of himself in a window, which I found interesting, and also a unique, quirky self-portrait, and well as this photo that was taken in a reflection of what seems to be like a trophy window thing. But I found this very interesting because you can't see his face, but yeah, it's still a self-portrait. But he describes that there's potential images in front of you. So whenever you walk outside, there's just always a potential for a good photograph, which brings me to this photo, which he took when he was in New York City. And it was part of his New York City collection. In New York City, I just thought this was interesting because you think the portrait is of that female figure, but it's actually his shadow within her. Next, I'm going to talk about his next exposition called The Street. I found these group of images to be really interesting, and the use of depth of field was really cool on my perspective. It just seems so easy. The photographs that were being taken, it's just the image was right there, right in front of you. But I really like the way that the female is walking out and the male figure is just about to be walking in the image. And it's just a different perspective, I would say. It's something not ordinary, something you wouldn't really think to capture. And then you could also see the reflection of the man within the glass door. This next photograph, I thought it was really interesting because that man is just standing in the middle of all those people walking, and then I also noticed the arrows at the top of the photograph. It's pointing left when two people are walking left, and then two people are walking right, and then I feel like the guy just standing in the middle of it is just confused which way to walk. That's how I see it. But this photo was also taken in New York City when he was there. The next group of photographs that also are a little different than what he usually takes. He usually does more I feel like these still count as portraits, but the little scenes they capture the everyday life of the lonely hotel rooms that he was staying in at the time when he was extensively being traveled all the time. I found these work these bodies of work to be really interesting because the photograph is a still life, but yet there's still a portrait within the scene, and it's very simple and just balanced. I don't know. I feel like the mirror, the antenna balances with the little scrape or a reflection in the mirror, and then I like the placement of the television. This was taken in Portland, Maine in 1962, sorry. And also, this photograph was taken in a hotel room, and it's just very simple. The TV still is another portrait, and then it seems like this room wasn't even touched. Like the maid just made the bed, and he's just ready to, end a day of work and photographing, and it's just really cool. This photograph, it's just a point and shoot. It's just very simple. I just find the use of the television to be really interesting. It just gives that quirkiness to a self-portrait, but it still captures the everyday life. And then the next few images I wanted to show is his body of works of stems and vases, which I found really interesting. Bill told me about these works of art last week when I was doing the abstract project, and I found that really interesting and abstract, and I think he's very versatile. Like his work is, very different. It's like the point and shoot, and then like the self-portraits, and then the nudes, and then these stems and vases, which I found really cool, especially this one because of the rose stems, the prickers. I find that to be really cool in the water. And also this piece is just very calm, and I just really like the movement and the perspective of the stems going in a spiral. And also I really enjoy this piece because I like how the stems are squeezed into the bowl. I find it very interesting overall, and his work is really influential to me and makes me want to create photographs like his. And I don't know, I find it really interesting. And then I just have the link to the website that I used for majority of these photographs. This is where I found them, and I found it really helpful and interesting. But yeah, it's my presentation. Thanks, guys.